Paul Slow and Mr. Clinton, can't wait. Speaking and exposing corruption each and every day. Yeah, 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 yeah. Guyanese, turn on your TV and go to YouTube and listen to what Paul Slow and can't wait to say. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Whole day we are calling for Paul Slow and Clinton Conway. They teach and educating, exposing the things in the system. We need a better Guyana for the little boys and the children poor. Slow and Clinton Conway.
All the money in this 2.2 billion.
Hear me when I sing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh. Guyanese at home and abroad. Please log into Conway as wide as it can reach. Paul Slow, you always will preach. Oh, yeah, yeah. Like and share, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so this message could reach as far. And every Guyanese will feel well. Oh, yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Paul Slow and Clinton Conway. Paul and Conway, every day.
All the money they invest, 2.2 billion of our money. The money could have been invested in some place. They have to write the issues. Good afternoon, students. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Friday afternoon's edition of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Welcome. Friday afternoons are special because people preparing for your weekend, and therefore it's time to start unwinding. So welcome. We appreciate very much that you will take time off to come and to be here in class to get valuable, credible, timely information. And we are going to make sure, as we have said repeatedly, we're going to come and we're going to tell you what you need to know. So yes, and as the new theme song said, like and share so that everyone can know what is going on. Don't be selfish. Like and share. When you come on, share it live. Let people know that we are on, and we're going to be here to tell you what you need to know. Today is Friday, the 23rd day of January, in the year of our Lord 2026, right? 2026, the first month of the year is almost at an end. So it is moving very, very rapidly. So like, share, let people know that we are on. Another great day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's give praise and thanks for being in the land of the living. It is a privilege to be in the land of the living, and we should never, ever take that for granted. Always shout praise to the Almighty. It is through His mercies that we are allowed to see another day, be allowed to be a part of this live broadcast. So share, do your thing, and we will do our thing. My colleague CC is in the studio, rearing and ready to go. And we're going to do the acknowledge those who came in early. We're going to make the announcements, and then we're going to move in to the substantive stuff. We have a lot to tell you this afternoon, a lot to tell you Friday afternoon, lot to tell you to take you into the weekend. We got a weekend. This is a weekend where people are on edge. People looking to see what's going on. A lot of creasing, a lot of macoing taking place. People watching to see what will go on. I'm referring particularly in the political realm. People are watching to see what is going on. Let me watch. Because what you remember what we say, the more you watch, the less you see. And the less you watch, is better for me. So let me make sure we watch them keenly. Let's watch them keenly. Now, in terms of acknowledging those who came in early, the first man in at 2 o'clock when the gate was open is Sean from upstate New York. Then Ulrich. Then it was Kenneth all the way from Maryland. Paulette, Peter. Then it was John from New Amsterdam. S.E. came next. Clarence, Fergus, Courtney. Then it was Felicia, Barlad. They all came at 2. All came at 2. Dexter, Ivor is here. Desiree from Georgia, she's here too. Paulette. Paulette came, that's the last person of coming at 2. And then shortly after, we have Pam, West Dem lady, Emerson. Then it was Gaston Taylor, my squad mate from Canada. Bonita, Paulette, Brian. Then it was after Brian, it was Oren all the way from UK. My friend Ma Chicken is here with us. Then Evelyn, Nicola, Wayne from the UK as well is here. Then it was Pinky, Doreen, another squad mate of mine from Canada. Then Rena, Tessa, all the way from Florida. Tessa is here as well. Yeah, and then when the doors were open, that's the gate, the people came in the schoolyard. When the school doors were open, let me scroll to see who's the first person listed as being in the coming into the class. Let me see. A lot of people here, so I gotta scroll far. The first person in listed, big drum roll. Yolanda is here listed as the first person in the welcome, student Yolanda, first person in the classroom. Then it was Rosie Rose, followed by Rhonda. Then I'm still in the house. Then it was Rakal, then Umo, Sion, Commissioner Cole is here very early as well. Then we have Steve. Then it was Marlon. Asserine is here. Asserine is here. And Abu from Essequibo Coast. Colvis. So true, Hector. And the list goes on and on and on. So welcome. Let me make the announcements as quickly as I can, and then we're going to move in. We have a lot to tell you. 679 days today since the death of Sergeant Alex Vaughn. 679 days. He was killed on, as we said, on March 12, 2024. And police, their mom, can't eat their tongue. They're not saying anything. But we're going to keep reminding the country, we're going to keep reminding them, because they listen, right? Nothing, not a word. And by now, the new Minister of Home Affairs had a long time to perhaps have been briefed about this matter. And once you're briefed, should either direct that they update the public, or she herself should tell the public what is the position with that matter. What is the reason for not giving any further information? We told you about the death of Donald Sinclair. I learned he was cremated yesterday. Donald Sinclair, tourism industry man. He was an educator, teacher, and so on, and then he was in the bodybuilding fraternity. He was cremated yesterday. And then we have today the news of the death of a former member, Michael Adams. His number was 8371. He died on the 22nd, that's yesterday, at the GPHC. And I learned that he was a traffic rank on the East Coast Demerara back in the early 70s. So Michael Adams passed away recently. And then on the sad note again, we're gonna come back to it. We had this fatal accident last night. Oh my God, 3 persons died. We're gonna talk about it briefly. 3 persons, but the information is last night about 10 o'clock on the Wisrock Road in Linden. A motor vehicle, like a car or a car, I know, and a container truck. Based on what I've picked up, the container truck was at the side of the road there somewhere, and this is the initial report. I don't know how true it is. I haven't seen anything from the police, but it's been said that the vehicle was traveling, this car, with 3 occupants, the driver and 2 others, attempted to overtake this vehicle, this container truck, partly confronted with an oncoming vehicle and pulled back in and ran straight into the back of the truck. All 3 persons in the vehicle died. I have looked at the video, my God, gruesome. When you have an accident and then people at the back, in the back seat also died instantly, you know what? Speed is a big factor. speed. So we want to hear about the traffic chief and them going to say, because you're going to say people careless and people kill. Yeah, they're careless. But the government, the police have a responsibility to put measures in place to bring some order to this lawlessness. And in my view, I've said it repeatedly, they're not doing enough. They are not doing enough. Right? So we had that. And let me move off from this to tell you about some more pleasant announcements. We have no birthday greeting today that we know of. Of course, we will be celebrating, but none for me to announce. We have a belated birthday greeting to retired woman Sergeant Plowell. She used to be at Linden, and she recently celebrated a birth anniversary. In terms of upcoming advanced birth anniversary, to go to Deputy Commissioner Watts, Errol Watts. I think tomorrow is the 54th birthday, and I saw his good friend Leroy Smith posted a picture of him and congratulating him a couple of days ago, birthday. But I think based on the records, it's the 24th of January. So today is the devil's birthday. Tomorrow is the devil's friend or the devil's son birthday, right? So you have that there. Errol, you're into the last year. When you come into this year, let me warn you, right? Because I know people like you and many others, senior officers in the Ghana Police Force, y'all don't take leave, annualized vacation leave. So I suspect you got a lot of leave, pack up. So you should be going into your retirement sometime this year, right? When your time come to go your way. People that's begging, you're begging for stay, go your way. The history of the force is not kind to persons who reach the retirement age and decide to stay back. Go your way. I know many of you are afraid to go back into civilian life because the truth is you have not treated people well. You didn't treat the members of the force well. You didn't treat members of the public well. So you're afraid to go and to reintegrate into the society. Well, go your way when the time comes. Go when the time comes, right? So I don't know how many days leave you have because I know this big thing now. They're begging for payment in lieu of leave, and then they want to stay on in some other capacity, right? The issue of the force is replete with examples of forces who beg to stay on. At senior levels, it don't go well. It do not go well with the senior ones, right? And you're a senior man. So in any case, we can wish you a happy birthday. Then tomorrow, too, is the birth anniversary of a loyal student, John Rogers. He hails from Tennessee in the USA. John is observing a natal day tomorrow. Another student here, Carl Johnson, who is here every single day. My old friend Johnson, old man from the TSU. John was in 11352 or something like that. Yeah, I think something like that is ringing a bell. I'm sure John won, So John is celebrating shortly. Another loyal student, CC, is celebrating shortly. Winston Scarrett from National Service fame and so on. Winston is going to be celebrating a birth anniversary shortly. And let me wish all those who, first of all, should have expressed condolences to the relatives or friends of those accident victims and others who have passed, right? Condolences to those families. And in terms of the people who are observing birth anniversaries, all the best to you. If you have happy birthday to you all, yeah? And going around the sun another year is a good thing. To have gone around one more year is an excellent thing, right? But we celebrate birthdays is something. When they get to a certain age, let me understand, the reality is when they get to a certain age, every birthday that you celebrate is a day closer to when Jag and say, come, you got to be realistic, As I said, people are afraid to talk about death. One of the most irrational fears, I think. People are afraid you have to die. We all have to go. So every time you celebrate a birthday, celebrate with a lot of zest and vigor because it's a day or a year closer to when Jah will say to you, come, my humble servant. So yeah, other announcement, cricket. West Indies pulled back, the senior team pulled back one yesterday with Afghanistan. They won the third T20 game. Then the under 19 youths, they too won a game. I think it was yesterday. They played South Africa and they destroyed South Africa. But I saw some highlights from that game, and I think La Cruz or something like that, a youngster, The youngster, big youngster, left-handed. See the man hitting the ball like if he's Chris Gayle all over the place, man. Right? So he made 100. I think that's the first 100 in the current under 19 tournament. He made 100 there. And then another one of the bowlers got a 6-wicket all. So let's see. I think the next game is against Ireland. Let's see how that will go. I'm not sure of the format. I'm not sure what the format is, but they are going to be playing another game soon. And then Bangladesh, we learned that Bangladesh, as I said, is out. I'm not sure. I got to recheck because I think Bangladesh refused to go to India. You know, the politics in that part of the world. Bangladesh decided they ain't going to India. And they had asked the ICC to reschedule the games to Sri Lanka. I think ICC has refused that request. And therefore, I think they made a decision that they're not playing in this T20 World Cup, which should start in a few weeks' time. So that is the story in terms of the announcements. Let me bring in CC, and then I have a few more brief announcements to make, and we're going to go into the thing. CC, welcome, my brother. Welcome.
Good afternoon. Thanks and praises that we are all in the land of the living to do God's work. And we must always thank and praise Him, you know. We must always, congratulations to all those persons who celebrated their birthday, who will be celebrating also, and condolences to the members of the bereaved family. I want to shout out to Brother Winston Skerritt. We'll talk later on that. And Pastor Charles, West Coast Barbies. And I haven't heard from certain people recently, you know. I haven't heard from my general in Atlanta. General, I hope you're doing well. I hope the Venezuelans have not taken over you, you know, but you are a general. Shout out to Corbin from Linden. Also, Powell, who celebrated her birthday, woman Sergeant Powell. I know her well. She was an excellent police, work in the office, work in operation room, work in the inquiries office. She did exceedingly well, and I want to wish her well. And Watts, Mr. Watts, you know, we came a long way, and I recruited Watts at the Felix Austin Police College in Adventure. In those days, the commandant there, I was the commandant, the first commandant to spend some time there, and I was given the authority to do my own recruitment. And I remember I recruited him, and as part of the training, the last month, they will come to Georgetown and do the like fire and the Timerian life for Rangers and other things. I remember when I brought him, we had Superintendent McDonald, who was in charge of recruitment in Georgetown. And she said, CC, where you bring this bike for? This bike come 3 times to me. And I told you don't have 3 times that he's too short. I said, well, he don't know any work. And he got some qualities. He's gonna do well. He might even do in terms of rank structure better than me or you. You know, I said, let him stay. And he stayed on, and he's now a deputy commissioner of police, although, you know. So, and I want to tell him, hey, Errol, if you have leave to if you have leave, go on your leave. Don't stay for anything. Don't stay for anything because you might stay and get trouble. You come a long way. You had many obstacles, many challenges that you face. Go along your way. Take your leave and go along your way peacefully.
And a word to him too from me is that, you know, when you retire, you get a retirement bench. We talk about this retirement bench. This retirement bench and get rank, you know, there's a problem with some of them. Because when they leave the force and then they start to interact with former members, they still want to pull rank. We ain't get that, right? We don't have that. Somebody retires a commissioner, retires assistant commissioner, retires a constable. When you reach up out there, we all are human beings, men and women, and we give each other that type of respect. But I know some of y'all can't live with that. because for some of you, it's all about the power continuum. All about the power continuum. And let me say this, in terms of cricket, I missed that too because there's a match with New Zealand and India. And India chased down 208, make 208 look easy in a T20. New Zealand batted first 208. And then when India replied, 2 early wickets, and then they turned on the pressure. Ishan Kishan and Sky turned on the pressure. So that's it. But let me move on. So first of all, this is a warning to all the students in the tri-state, New York, New Jersey, big with the storm coming through. They said tomorrow night. I think in New York, I learned that the governors declared a state of emergency. So it's a serious, serious storm they're anticipating. And they're asking people to make sure that you get yourself together. You got to go and get one little food and water and all this everything. Get it before the storm comes in. It's due tomorrow night. But they're telling you, I hear, based on what I'm looking at, they're talking about this Arctic blast that is coming through to the States, New York and New Jersey, from as early as maybe tonight and so on. So there's a warning. I give you all a public service warning. Now, a next issue that we need to update on, a few months ago, there was this issue with the former policeman Ian Roberts, who was the school superintendent in Iowa, and he got himself into some trouble where they claim that he falsified records to get his position. He was eventually found with firearms and all of that. Well, the update to that, I've been reading that he pleaded guilty yesterday to 2 charges. One for making a false declaration, falsely stating on forms that he was a U.S. citizen, and the possession of the firearm. So yesterday he passed through court and then some bargain, and he pleaded guilty to those 2 charges. And according to what I've read, the 2 charges carry a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. 20 years in prison, those 2 charges. And I think they say that he comes up for a sentence on the 29th of May. The 29th of May, he comes up for a sentence. So there's a life that is, well, not necessarily destroyed, but a serious, serious setback. Because no doubt, and it said so too in the article, that once he is convicted, he plead guilty. Once he's sentenced, when the time done, is deportation. But it's a sad case because based on all that we read and so on, brilliant man, but he forged and tell them, say, he's a U.S. citizen. And when he never was. And therefore, that is one of the convictions and the weapons possession. 20 years is the maximum. So, well, that is the maximum sentence, but given certain things, they can whittle down. Recently, recently in Guyana, Guyana is a strange place. In Guyana, a man who was charged with manslaughter was sentenced to time served. Last week or before the last, we didn't talk about it here, but we remember the thing. A man who killed somebody and so I think he was a Venezuelan man or something. And what happened there? I haven't gone into the details. But when time came for him to be sentenced in front of the acting Chief Justice, the man was sentenced to time served. So he walked out the court on the scene. So that can happen. Let's see what will happen in that case. So yeah, that is what I got to update y'all. I'm sure CC gonna want to say something about Robbie because CC knew Robbie, an athlete, when he was in Ghana. So we give CC the opportunity to. Yeah, CC, I don't know if you heard about Robbie. Pleaded guilty yesterday, Thursday. Well, one of the things they said, in the article that I read, they brought him to court with shackles and cuff, right? His feet were shackled and his hands were handcuffed, and he pleaded guilty. Go ahead, my brother.
Yeah, I know him well, recruited him. And then when I was the sports officer, he was one of athletes together with people like Mariam Bornett and Brennan Thompson and others. He was an excellent athlete, but he left to go to the States, and then the next thing I heard is that he was involved in these court issues. But as I say, in terms of sentences, anything could happen in the States in the matter.
Well, you know, as somebody making a comment, but you remember the old people say, you know, old people say, book sense without common sense is nonsense. Book sense without common sense is nonsense. Because one would have thought that a man so highly educated would have sought to have himself in the right. But who knows? We don't know the circumstances, so we shouldn't judge. We don't know the circumstances, so therefore we should not judge. Now, today is the 23rd of January, 2026. Can you recall? I mean, moving to the substantive thing now. So yeah, share the live, share. Let me start off with a video. I'm gonna start off this session. Hold on, this thing. You know this. I don't know why this thing acting up on me. So okay, I get it in now. Now let me start off with a video. I want to remind you all first of this. Listen carefully to this, and we're gonna talk about it.
A new form of government efficiency is something we call post-audits. And very soon, we work with the Commissioner, the Guyana Revenue Authority, and the Ministry of Governance, Government Efficiency and Implementation, and the Ministry of Home Affairs. And one of the first post-audit areas that we are now concluding is that in relation to a driver's license. And in that post-audit, we are now concluding the findings, but there are definitely some areas that would require urgent attention. So we can tell, and we have been able to tell because of the system, all those who wrote the theoretical exam and pass, and that is the only way you can move forward with the practical exam. And we can tell you all those who got a practical certificate, and then all those who actually got a license at GRE. So we've been able to triangulate the entire process, and we understand the discrepancies within the whole process. Because if you have 150 people passing the theory, but 400 people getting the practical certificate, something is wrong. You agree with me? And we're going to make those findings available so the system would understand where those weaknesses are. In the areas where there's discrepancies, and we have found it, we have all the names of persons who got a practical paper but never passed the theoretical exam. And we're going to give those persons in the public domain 6 weeks to surrender themselves and go through back the process, or after that we're going to publish all the names in the newspaper, suspend the license and prosecute them. That is the only way we can beat this corruption.
Well, that statement was made, according to my research, on the 9th of December, 2025. And if you check, I want you to check your calendar. Most of you get what the fancy phones. The phones will have a calendar on it. Check. Because according to my check, this 6 weeks amnesty or grace period ended earlier this week. So I would like to know how many persons have turned in these licenses which they acquired illegally, going through this the thing. How many persons have turned in the license? Because the president said they got to turn in the license and give them 6 weeks to do so. The 6 week done. When will these names be published? Maybe over the weekend? These names will be published. When will charges be laid against those persons? Who are the persons you're going to lay charges against? The person who paid to get the competence, he call it certificate or something, but the certificate of competence he's referring to. So who are these people? You say you get all the names. We have all the names. And then remember this too. Let me read this part. Is a little thing. This was on Olier's Day, the 31st of December. 2 weeks after President Irfan Ali gave persons holding a, quote, fraudulently obtained, end of quote, driver's license, 6 weeks to surrender them and restart the process. He has announced that persons who facilitated the process for those licenses to be obtained fraudulently will be fired starting early in the new year. The announcement comes following a comprehensive post-audit conducted by the government in collaboration with the Guyana Revenue Authority, the Ministry of Home Affairs, and the Ministry of Public Service, Government Efficiency and Implementation. Quote, early in January, you will see a lot of people being sent home. We have just completed the records of all of the licenses issued by GRE versus how many persons passed the theoretical test versus how many persons passed the practical test. And I can tell you the results is, that's what I'm reading, the results is alarming, the president said. In addition, the president said that the driver's test will now be digitized to reduce the human bias, adding that the country must not be in a position where it loses revenue to corruption. Quote, we must never have the type of situation that robbed this country of hundreds of billions of dollars in revenue. So we're building everything on system driven by technology on a digital backbone to improve efficiency and enhance accountability and transparency, end of quote. Well, they go on, the president and the private sector will also get in line and all of that. So a lot of things were said, but then early in January, according to the president, early in January 2026, at least that is what we felt, because they didn't say January 2026. They said early in January. And given the fact that the statement was made late in December 2025, many of us assumed that it was early in January 2026. Well, early January 26 gone, because today is the 23rd, and we haven't heard anything further. So I don't know if they're going to give an update or know that we talk. They listen to us, and somebody must be going to remind the president or somebody to make sure that you give some action to this thing. A lot of attire, and I said this before and I'm saying it again, that if you're really serious about dealing with corruption and you have the record of all those persons who are involved in this corrupt practice, you give them 6-week amnesty? You're giving these people amnesty? And you're telling me you're turning the license? Who's going to turn in the license? I am sure that if you were to check properly, right? Maybe very few persons would have turned in a license. Very few, if any at all, would have turned in a license. And therefore, you can't be serious about dealing with corruption. This government, the PPP government, has no appetite to deal with corruption. Why? Because anytime you start to talk about corruption, it's going right through the system. Right through, all of them going to be involved. All of them. Because remember we say when we talk about corruption, we tell you about the definition. Corruption is not necessarily taking bribe, taking money. A lot of people believe the traffic man or the policeman who take a granger on the road and so on, that is all what corruption is. No, that's not all what corruption is. So they will never, ever, let me tell this plainly, right? They can prove me wrong. They will never, ever go after any corrupt system or corrupt people with any gusto or any appetite. No, because they are afraid. You're gonna afraid that the old pack of cards gonna come tumbling down. The old pack of cards. So those statements were made, and we await to see the follow-up action with that thing. And then, before I bring in CC, because all of them jumping around, they're talking about, basically they're aiming at the persons who issue the certificate of competence, that is the licensing and certifying officers. But a lot of other persons are involved, because I know, or I've been told, it is alleged that many times the licensed and certified officers are provided with lists from senior people and say, look, issue the competence to these people. There are cases, I understand too, where driver's licenses are issued by the Guyana Revenue Authority. These are all like allegations, without any certificate of competence. They just issue, Jackie Opel visit, they've issued and the thing. So they need to go through this whole thing. So I understand recently, the Commissioner of Police, Clifton Aiken, they extended squatter. He called a meeting of the licensing and certifying officers. Very recent. and he proper cuss them out. He proper cuss them. And they sit down quiet and they take the cuss, knowing fully well that many of the things that he say, some of the senior people are to be blamed. Because we have people who are scared. You are a licensed and certified officer. Some officers send a list to you, say, give us a competence certificate with this person, and the person did not go through the system. And you complain? You complain? But I understand the position they're in. I understand the position they're in, right? Because they know they're going to feel victimized. You're going to get transferred to somewhere far away from your family, inconvenience you, and all of that. But you have got to make a decision. Because now that the president said that triangulate, and you know all the persons who are involved, so I suspect they're talking here now of the persons who acquired the driver's license. And if you have a proper system, you will see who is the licensed and certified officer that issued the certificate of competence. And if you issue that certificate of competence on instruction from some senior one, you're going to show you under the bus. You're your own. Nobody are not admitting that they instructed you to do that. And I know some of you are not police, so even if they send a note, you make sure you lock it off as evidence. Because y'all only wearing the police uniform. Y'all not really police as such. So let's see where this will go with this. But we follow it up. We're going to continue to follow. Let me bring in CC for him to tell us something about this 6-week grace period. CC?
I heard the president, and then I'm not certain what you meant by when they triangulate the thing. But if it's that the president got all this information, he get a database, and he said, and he give them 6 weeks. 6 weeks pass, and nothing. And the whole system has broken down. Yes, we've had we have issues with persons not writing the theoretical exam. I remember at a meeting, police officers meeting, conference, I raised it. And then the Green said, as you raise it, you mark the papers. And he hand over the papers, the marking the papers to the police college, where I had to supervise the marking. And then they subsequently hand over to the cops and faith, those holy men. And now, lo and behold, they take it away from those holy men and they give Zaro that got computer operations across the various divisions. So Zaro is wholly and solely responsible for the theoretical examination. And nobody doing no checks and balances for Zaro. No checks and balances for Zaro. No integrity testing. No anti-corruption operation. Zaro is, or are the people that work in Zaro, they are paragons of virtue. They are paragons of virtue and nobody checking on them. So what Zaro sent to the police, there's it. I wonder in the triangulation if Zaro is in it. I'm wondering. And we know that you have to do the theory first. You got to pass the theory first before you go and do the practical. So you can get a certificate of competence. That is understood. But there's so much corruption in thing. You understand this? The quoting so for example, I may go there and I submit a competence, the number with some other body, me write no exam, I quote some other body competence, and they accept it. And when you look at it, few people doing the practical examination, very few. But when you got to GRA full up with persons who get competence, full up. with persons with confidence. And even you go back with the with the practical test, have you ever seen any one of those big trucks between sticks? Those 18 wheelers or how much wheelers, you ever see them between sticks? For you to get a truck license, you go to the canter, put you between sticks, and you get a license for drive them big vehicles. You know, but getting back to the president, here it is. The president has all the information triangulated, and he gave people 6 weeks for handing your thing there. And then they're talking about suspension. There are ways and means that you can, legal ways you could suspend people's driver's license. Well, nothing has been done. And I can't give the president credit for being decisive, because most time he's flying like a seagull, make a little noise, crap up and shit up on everything, and then he's gone his way. A lot of seagull management, and even the commanders, the commanders must be involved in this practical exercises. Paul, you had a policy, or you had a SOP stating exactly what must be done at the practical, what must be done, and where the commander in the division has got to be actively involved, get their own people to supervise it, a return sent to you saying X among the people are going to write the exam, and then at the end of the exam, you get the people and they send a return to you so that you see whether 19 wrote the 19 did the practical and all 19 passed. And I always like to talk about Barbies. When I went there, Springlands has the best drivers in Guyana. If 15 registered to do the practical exam, all 15 will pass. And I send for the certifying officer. I say, hey, me want 100%. Make you do it. But don't give me no 100%. And he talk, that he's a certifying officer. He could give people license. Not the commander. The commander is not a certifying officer. And it continued for a while, and I send for you there, say, you have been transferred to Oriella police station with immediate effect. I want to go and certify them Dutch boat and them other boats down there. So I'll give me another couple months, I say, give me another couple months, I'm going to find you floating in the Quarantine River, or I'm going to find you hit and run. Somewhere upon the road, somebody hit you down and thing, because you're taking the people money. You're taking the people money. And he went to Oriella. I think he spent about 2 months, and then he left the work. But the thing is that we got to take swift, certain, and an appropriate action when these things come up. Don't left nothing for no 6 weeks. Deal with it now. You have all the ammunition there. You have everything there. You say triangulate and get information. GRA must be there in it. So the final officer must be there in it. Senior police officer must be there in it. Senior government officials must be there in it. Because we hear this going, not only from police, from senior police officer, from senior government officers, that you want these persons to get competence. So I hope maybe before the end of January, and January coming to an end, that we see some action, or we hear some action taken in relation to this driver's license fiasco.
Yeah, the corruption in the driver's license. Now, let me tell you something with this driver's license thing. It pains me because, as I've said before, I was a traffic chief when this law on a driver system was designed, this package arrangement. And the way it was designed, once it was properly implemented, all of these things would have been avoided. But they get a lot of people go there now and mess up the whole thing. And before they come for me about the design, this license in the 90s, and all they're there now, they haven't done anything to, if they believe it is inadequate, they haven't done anything to change it, right? Even with all the flaws now that are being revealed, And the flaws is not in the system itself, it's in the people who manage the system, corrupt people managing the system. And I say over and over, this thing needs a comprehensive review. You get people driving trucks. No, they're not getting a commercial driver's license, ordinary license. They jump and drive big truck speeding down the road, right? So much so that they themselves, not so long ago, under the former Minister of Home Affairs, Robeson, shoot and scoot Ben, right? Waive the requirements in terms of age and so on for people to get truck license. It is reported that this new minister abolished that arrangement. So they're not serious about this. And when the president jumps out there and talk about they're going to suspend license, I don't know who is briefing the president, if he's taking any brief. Unless you amend the Motor Vehicles and Road Traffic Act, you can't suspend license like that. The Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act makes provision and says when a license can be suspended, causing death by dangerous driving, and some other offense I can't remember now. Those are only 3 offenses that pending the outcome. So the persons don't have to be convicted, pending the outcome. The licensing authority, who is the Minister of Affairs, can suspend the license, but the president can suspend. It's just illegal and unconstitutional actions. And I saw where not so long ago, magistrate suspending license. A magistrate does not have the authority under the law to suspend the driver's license. Let me understand it. If you want to amend the law, amend the law. I'm talking about the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act. Amend it. The magistrate can, what we used to call it, can ban you, right? Not suspend, can disqualify you from holding or obtaining for a period of time. Not suspend. The suspension can only happen, the law spells out, because for it to be suspended, the Director of Public Prosecutions has to be involved in the process. And on the recommendation of the Director of Public Prosecutions, the licensing authority, who is the Minister of Home Affairs, can then suspend pending the outcome of the charge. So the person has to be charged first. But the president jump out, and the president making a statement, and you get people like Mahendra Singh, the traffic chief, you get people like Clifton Hicken, the commissioner of police. They don't know better. They don't know. So is the president making all type of wild statement, and then they look bad because these things can't be done like that, or even if they do it, it's unconstitutional and illegal, right? So I don't know what we going on. But when you hear people die on the road, 3 last night in one accident, multiple deaths in an accident, it is very worrying. Very worrying. And don't tell me that the person was careless. Check, I have said over and over, when you have these accidents, the investigation should not only be about the actual accident on the road or the incident, what they want to call it. Go further. How the person acquired a driver's license. That might tell a story. It might very well reveal that a large percentage of persons who are getting involved, when they come to the category motorcycle, maybe they don't have license. And even when they get license, look to see if they went through the correct process to get the license, right? But I don't know where we're going in this thing. But very depressing. Families now, 3 families in mourning again. So even though this one, today is the 23rd day, I think for my count, you must have 7 or 8 fatalities on the road already. And that is what you have, right? Well, let me move on. I've said repeatedly, I've told you about the incompetence of the, and here, let me say this. Let me say this. Some people might believe that we come here to bash the police. Not at all. Not at all. We come to highlight certain things. We might be doing it in an unorthodox and very aggressive manner, but the story needs to be told, because you're telling them the thing over and over, and there's no, doesn't seem to be any attempt to improve. And I'm talking about this here. I'm talking about this. This is a wanted bulletin issued today by the police. The issue of wanted bulletin for this man, what they call the spoiled child, claiming that he want attempt murder and something, and that. So there's something issued today. But I can play this tape that just came on social media. Listen to what this is. The person here who is now going to speak is, I think, supposed to be the person. Hold on, I got a little problem here with the with this thing. I'll bear with me a while. Right, this is the person who they're claiming attempted to kill. Right, so the man that picture to be showed you, the so spoiled child, a wanted bulletin is out for him because they say he attempted to kill Ron Singh. So here, Ron Singh's version of the story. Listen.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ron Singh. On the 23rd of November 2025, I was the victim of a shooting. I almost lost my life. Almost lost my daughter, almost lost her father, my fiancé almost lost her future husband. My family almost lost his son. And something is sitting well with me right now. Today, the Guyana Police Force issued a wanted bulletin for one Tian Allen, aka Spell Child. Well, I'm here to tell you that if it wasn't for Tian Allen, aka Spell Child, I would have been dead. Because if Tian didn't save my life by pulling me, by naturally grabbing me and pulling me to safety, I would have been dead. So my question is to the Guyana Police Force. Why was this bulletin issued when I gave a statement saying who the shooter was for that incident? So why is it the wrong person a wanted bulletin was issued for? So it left me thinking all over again. Is there someone in the Linden CI department corrupt? Did someone take pay? So, there's a lot of if. Because if a victim give you a statement pertaining to a matter, why is it that the wrong person, a wanted bulletin was issued for? So, I am pleading with the upper heads of the Guyana Police Force to investigate this matter thoroughly. I'm pleading with the US Embassy, the Canadian Embassy, the UK Embassy to investigate the matter of corruption in Guyana, because this is blatant corruption. This is not right, because someone's savior cannot be their killer. Something smells very fishy. Something is very off. Amen. So, my fellow Guyanese, I'm the victim, Ron Singh, and I'm telling you that Tian Allen, aka Spell Child, wasn't the perpetrator. Matter of fact, he was my savior. I'm here today because of Tian Allen. Thank you very much.
Well, I don't know what to say about that. I'm really speechless. Yeah, I'm really speechless because the police issued a wanted bulletin for this man, Allen, called Spy Child, claiming that he attempted to kill this man, Ron Singh. But this man come out now and say, look, that is not what happened. I gave a statement, right? I gave a statement saying that, look, this, I don't know the extent of the statement, how detailed it was, but now he's making a next statement, a video statement to say this is not the man. So how can this wanted bulletin have been issued for Tian Allen? I don't know. I'm speechless. I really don't know. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to see if he can explain that, and then we're going to move on. CC, can you offer some rational, reasonable explanation as to what transpired here?
No, sir. I listened to Ron Singh, and he's saying the man who they pull up the wanted bulletin for is not the person who shot at them. So, we've been saying all and all, we've been talking about over and over again that the police, the releases that the police put out leave much to be desired. They didn't verify anything. They didn't check with Linden. They didn't double check with the victim. Lo and behold, a big wanted bulletin, and the man saying, hey, the man didn't shoot at me. The man saved my life. But there's a police communication unit, and that's how they've been operating. They are not credit. They have no credit. And when you read them, you got to take them with maybe a bucket of salt, not a pinch, a bucket of salt, that they are not credible.
No, yeah, because you said I'm not sure if it's a corporate communication unit would have issued that wanted bulletin, because I know back in the day that may have come directly from CID headquarters. So I really don't know. Can't explain that at all. Can't explain that, right? But let me move on. Let us move on. We have so many issues. We got an hour or so more to go. Let me talk a little politics now. And remember, we are not politicians, but we deal with corruption and incompetence. So it is in that context that we're going to say what we have to say about the politics. So we're talking about the election of the leader of the opposition, which, Mansour Nadir, the speaker, reluctantly, under pressure from the diplomatic community and elsewhere, said that this meeting is going to be held on Monday, the 26th of January at 10 o'clock. That is what he said. The whole country heard that. During the same address, he views out the Americans, he views out the Canadians. The man who is the Speaker of the National Assembly of Guyana don't know what is the system of governance in the United States. So he asking the United States ambassador if the U.S. has a leader of the opposition, and whether the absence of a leader of the opposition in the U.S. affects the democratic process. That's the speaker, Mansour Nadir. That is the thing he said. It's there. This is not Slow and Conway making this up. Well, yesterday, I got to keep you all updated, Yesterday, I understand from what I read, is that some members of the diplomatic corps requested a meeting with the speaker. The speaker agreed to the meeting, perhaps in his own style, he might have reluctantly done that. But the meeting was held. And according to what is being reported, the meeting lasted for about an hour. So the question is, what are talking about? The people are diplomats. So they're going to use all types of fancy language with him, even though some of these Guyanese and them, they like this feral blasting, brother, right? So they had this meeting. They had the meeting. So I said, so we don't know what was discussed. It doesn't mention what was discussed, right? However, there's absolutely no doubt that the meeting pertains to the election of the leader of the opposition. And for those of you who can't remember, the meeting to elect, because there's a meeting of members of the opposition, the 29 members of the opposition, 12 from APNU, 16 from the Reinvest in National Party, and 1 from Forward the Guyana Movement. That is the 29. So they are supposed to meet. Nadir and one the meeting, Nadir gone into all sort of extraneous things. Extraneous, because Article 184 of the Constitution spells out clearly what he has to do. All he has to do is to call the meeting. He presides over the meeting. He can't vote. It's the opposition people can vote to who the leader is. And then Nadir can tell you what international fugitive and morality and all sort of crap he fall in, Nandalal, and talk a bundle of nonsense, right? talking a bundle of nonsense. So we wait, and I said on Wednesday, I still hold the view that mischief is afoot. I hold the view that mischief is afoot. And remember, on the last occasion when Parliament was to convene on the Monday, the 3rd of November, the last day, the Friday the 31st, which was the last working day, they arrest Azadin Mohammed and Kaita Code with the expectation that he would have been remanded. They said so, right? So let me watch between now and Monday to see what will happen. Let me, I am no brief for Azadin Mohammed. Well, let me tell you, if I were advising Azadin Mohammed, I would tell you, don't even mash your hands between now and then, right? Walk the straight and narrow. When you're driving to go, make sure if you are driving, make sure all your documents in order. Make sure the tire pressure on the vehicle is right. Make sure that everything relating to the fitness is okay. Because don't put it beyond them to set up something to pull you in before you go to the meeting, under some pretense or pretext to make sure you're in there this meeting. These people are evil, you know. Let me understand it. These people are evil. And then I noted too, I read a while ago that the APNU had a meeting, and Dr. Campbell, who is supposed to lead the APNU in Parliament, has made it clear that they are not going to field a candidate for leader of the opposition. So basically, what they're telling you, APNU will not contest, will not put up someone in the election. And it is widely expected that the party with the largest number in the opposition, Win, We Invest, headed by Azadin Mohammed, might very well nominate. I said might, because as I said, mischief is afoot. I believe all sort of shenanigans going on, right? All sort of shenanigans to throw us into greater turmoil. Because if anyone in the Win party should go against the wishes of the party and vote, it's probably we're talking about, because I'm sure they're going to be recalled. In other words, they're going to get knocked off. So we are into some interesting times. And let me give further advice. I've been around long, you know. So you're going to say you see me here white, my face hard and all them things. I've been around long. Parliament, I was in charge of Parliament building many years ago as a young assistant superintendent in the late 80s. When they got a sitting of Parliament, it's enough food and so on. Come in there, you know. Now, I think in them days is Kirkpatrick Catering used to cater for Parliament. I don't know what's going on now that they got an Artichoke Convention Center. But Kirkpatrick Catering used to cater for Parliament. So they get break, they get coffee, they get tea, and they get things and so on. Y'all better work with your own stuff, even with your water. Let me repeat that. If I were in your position, me not eat nothing, me not drink nothing. Me very, very careful. Be extremely, extremely careful. Not only for Monday, but going forward. These people are dangerous. These people are walk with your own water. They get them fancy little flasks and thing now. Walk with your own water. Do like what old people say. When I was young, growing up, you have to go out. The old people say, eat before you go out. Don't go to people's place for nyam. Eat before you go. Don't go to people's place for nyam. Because things can happen. Things are just being, you know, this old man here, all this old man doing is warning you. You have to take the warning, you know. All of those who are going to Parliament, make sure you do the right thing. Drive carefully. If you got to go, maybe get taxi, carry you there. I hope Azadin didn't turn up to the Lamborghini. Because if you attempt to go to the Lamborghini this time, them man was suffering from Lamborghini-itis. Gonna deal with your case. Make sure you do all that is correct between now and then after. Right? Between now and then after, make sure. Now, before I bring in CC, let me say this. This country that we call Guyana is not a real place. The budget is to be presented on Monday afternoon. Normally, well, they didn't say Monday afternoon. What we know normally is 2 o'clock. Parliament will convene. And then the short man, Then read the budget. You can read the budget, and then they're going to get DPI and all them for show all sort of propaganda out there. And then there's no debate, there's no role. I don't think there's any role for the opposition apart from just sitting down there to air the budget speech. But then after that, they'll have to go. I think they're going to some committee where they're going to examine the items proposed, the budget proposed and passed items and so on. But let me say this. The office of the opposition is a constitutional office. They are supposed to budget funds for the office. There have not been any meeting, as far as I'm aware, between the government and the opposition or anybody. So is there going to be an allocation for the opposition, the leader of the opposition in particular? And if so, how did they arrive at figures and what process did they use? And when you talk about the dictatorship, they get annoyed. But if you sit down alone and you decide how much money you give to the opposition and all of that, that is dictatorship. I'm certain, 100%, as we say, sure that the opposition parties, especially the largest in the opposition, did not participate in any budgetary speech. I know that. So you just decide now that this is what you're going to give them. That is how you talk about this democracy and so on. That is why. So I'm warning them. I want to get some time because I got to deal with this sex scandal story and it can take a long time, right? But I think that is enough for now. So let me watch to see what is going to happen between. Well, before I say that is enough, there's a letter. Let me go through it because people have said there's a lot of letters since this Mr. Manzoor Nadir, the speaker, came out with that national broadcast. A lot of people came and called him out. People calling for him to resign. They're calling for him to resign. There are several letters. There's one in yesterday's. Several in yesterday's papers. Both are the major dailies, and the major dailies to me are Kaieteur News and Stabroek News. Not necessarily in that order, but they are the two major dailies. And if you want, go check. There are many letters in that. In those over the past 2 days. And one that I would want to read, y'all bear with me, by Suraj Dai Joglal. Right? So it's edited, for the sake of public confidence in Parliament, Manzoor Nadir should resign. I concur. And then it goes on. Dear editor, Mr. Manzoor Nadir address to the nation on January the 20th, 2026, raises serious questions and legitimate concerns about the neutrality and constitutional role of the office of the Speaker. While robust debate is an essential feature of democracy, the Speaker of the Westminster-style Parliament is expected to remain above partisan contestation and personal commentary. Guyana's parliamentary system is modeled on the Westminster tradition, where the Speaker is neither an advocate, prosecutor, nor political actor. The role of the Speaker is well established and includes 1, acting impartially and independently without favor to government or opposition. 2, upholding and protecting the Constitution rather than interpreting it through a political lens. 3, facilitating parliamentary processes, not delaying or obstructing them. 4, safeguarding the rights of minorities, particularly the opposition. And 5, respecting and giving effect to the will of the electorate. Once elevated to the chair, the Speaker's prior political affiliations must yield to institutional neutrality. Any perception to the contrary risks undermining public confidence in Parliament itself. In this regard, it may be instructive to reflect on the example of Sir John Burkhoff, former Speaker of the British House of Commons. Although he entered the speakership as a member of the Conservative Party, Sir John became widely respected for his fierce independence from the executive. On numerous occasions, he ruled against the government of his former party in defense of parliamentary sovereignty and the rights of all members of Parliament. It goes on to say, Sir John frequently permitted urgent debates and expanded the use of urgent questions thereby strengthening accountability and ensuring that matters of national importance could be ventilated in the House. Through these actions, he reaffirmed a central principle of Westminster democracy that the legislature, not the executive, ultimately controls parliamentary business. And they go on. I'm going to leave some for later. But the point is, the speaker is supposed to be neutral. So even if you came from a particular party like Nadir, well, he came from several. He came from UF Force, then he went into PPP. He was a minister in the PPP government. He's a member, well, at least he campaigned. I know he's a card-bearing member, but there's no doubt he's a member. But the point is, as the writer is saying, that once you are elected as the speaker, you have to be neutral. But we can say without any fear of contradiction, this speaker during the last parliament, during the 12th parliament, did not show any neutrality. Did not. Right? And then they come and you know, there's a letter, there's a post, I'm going to deal with them Monday, I think, God's Pay Life. Because I see 00 not license to lick Batty, write some stupid time of separation of powers. You know what is separation of powers? Can you say that there is separation of powers in Guyana? No. Because when, and he talk about, he said something, any law student, you got to be a law student to know about separation of powers. I am not a law student. When I went to university, when you do environments of public administration and so on, that is one of the things that you're taught. Montesquieu, separation of powers. But you can't argue that there's separation of powers in Guyana when you have, and quickly, separation of power means you have three branches of government. You have the executive branch, which the president and the cabinet. You have the legislative branch, which is parliament. And then you have the judicial branch, which is the court, the High Court and the court and so on. They're supposed to be separate. I can go into it more on the next program. Supposed to be separate. You don't have that in Guyana. In Guyana, the executive members, all the cabinet members, all of them, are members of parliament. So you have a case where members of the executive are also members of the legislative. So I don't know where Bond come out from. He's been under a rock for some time and he come and he talking a lot of nonsense, right? So I can deal with that more extensively on another thing. Right? Let me bring in CC, and then we're going to move to the scandal in the police force. CC, go ahead.
This thing with the selection of the leader of the opposition on Monday, I'm a bit uneasy. And more so, the members of the diplomatic corps met with him, and as a real diplomats, the sort of discussions they had interesting discussions. So I'm wondering what really took place. What was this thing that they call interesting discussions? You give them some advice that talk with members of the opposition. They gotta be careful what they do on Monday, or even from now. I won't be surprised you hear police pick them up for something and put them in the lockups. That when time for them to be at Parliament, they're in police custody. So they gotta be very, very careful. Mind how they're treading, mind what they're drinking, mind what they're eating, because anything mischief is afoot. Anything is likely to happen. And also, I won't be surprised if the police play a role in locking up some of them, for some kind of offense, some traffic offense or some offense that happened almost 10 years ago and I have anything there. So I am uneasy, but hoping that the best will happen on Monday.
Well, let's hope for the best. But remember when you hope for the best, remember that, man. We always tell the younger folks, the older folks will know what we're talking about when we talk about Jackie Opel. Now, and let me see if I could get it queued up here, man. Many of them would have never heard it. Now listen to what Jackie Opel says.
You took my love for granted, and you ran all around, yeah. Oh, I know the raindrops come tumbling down, and the tears are falling from you. Yeah, la 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 la, you made me cry, and now I know you got to pay, you got to pay, yeah. Whoa, you make my love for granted, and now you run all around, all around. The tears come tumbling down, and the tears are coming from you. I know, yeah. I know, you know. You got to pay. 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 You got to
Put you in the mood to go into the Friday after. You got to pay. That's what Jackie Opel say. So when you hear us talk about Jackie Opel in the house, that is what we are referring to. People got to pay, right? Jackie Opel say you got to pay. You got to pay. And a lot of paying. Now it's Jackie Opel and Casrip and all sort of thing going on. Casrip and all sort of thing, right? So I thought I'd lighten it up a little for you. Yeah, share the live. And we're going to talk now about this scandal in the Guyana police force, this sex scandal, where it has been alleged that the police training academy, as they call it, right, has become a sex shop, all sort of thing going on there. And I've noted some posts, and I ain't gonna get time for going to all this afternoon, but I got to clarify some stuff, right? I saw a post from a live from Leroy Smith, Big Smith News Watch yesterday, and he'd been posting a lot of stuff about the head of Soku and so on, and he get a lot of things wrong. So I think we have a responsibility to put things correct. Some things I can't talk because y'all might remember that the head of Soku sued me for defamation back in 2022 or something, defamation, and the court awarded judgment and said I must pay and all that sort of thing. So I'm not gonna, the matter is in the appeal court. So I am not like I'm not gonna be lucky like Jack Dio and Nandalal and them and discuss matters that are what they call sub judice. But there are certain things I need to clarify. First of all, they talk about the interdiction. It should be sent on administrative. There is Deputy Commissioner Karimbash should be sent on administrative leave to facilitate this investigation, because I don't know, somebody came out, Big Smith said that there's a sergeant who used to work at the college or at the academy who gave an interview with him implicating the Deputy Commissioner. Big Smith said that he sent it to the Minister of Home Affairs and he sent it to the Commissioner of Police for them to take action, right? That is what he said. Now, he went on to say, and this is what I want to correct, because he said they should send him on administrative leave. I agree that if an allegation is made and an investigation is going on, the person against whom the allegation is made, even though innocent until proven guilty, in fairness to the old system, the person should be sent off the job. The problem that we have, and this is, I hope the thing, the Commissioner of Police, the President, all of them, the Police Service Commission, if they had one, don't have the authority to send a Deputy Commissioner of Police on administrative leave. They don't, right? Because what y'all didn't recognize, the Police Service Commission deals with discipline from, well, basically, let me say, the Police Service Commission, according to the Constitution, deals with discipline, Article 212, I think it is, from inspector to assistant commissioner. In case some of you didn't know the rank structure, a deputy commissioner is above an assistant commissioner. Coming from the top is commissioner, deputy commissioner, assistant commissioner, senior superintendent coming down the line. But the Constitution gives the authority to the Police Service Commission to promote and discipline ranks from inspector all the way to assistant commissioner. They can also deal with discipline for junior rank, but that is in their capacity as a disciplinary authority, not to promote, but they can deal with matter. That it pay for next thing. Let me say this. If a deputy commissioner is alleged of committing himself, if the commissioner is alleged of committing himself, and they want an investigation, and therefore they want him to be sent home, they have to activate Article 225 of the Constitution. Article 225 of the Constitution has to be activated. The first step in that process is the Prime Minister, the Lion Mark Phillips, to write to the person for him to show cause why he should not advise the president to form a tribunal to inquire into this allegation. That is the process. And Mark Phillips ought to know that, because when I was and CC and I were members of the Police Service Commission, he sent us 2 letters. Sent us one on the 19th of May, 2021, to say that we having in charge for conspiracy to commit fraud, we should show cause why you should not advise the president for us to be suspended, something like that. He write. I get a copy of the letter somewhere. And then when he recognized that they're failing big on the one, because they had absolutely no legal ground to stand on, then he wrote us a second one. And I'm going to go into that because the chancellor made some remarks a few weeks ago about the independence, budgetary independence of the judiciary. I'm going to talk about it because not only the judiciary, but the service commissions as well, right? So you got to do that. And it spells out Article 225, all the different subsections they spell out the process. The only way you can send a deputy commissioner off, or the commissioner, is you have to make sure that the Judicial Service Commission set up a tribunal, and not a tribal union, as the sergeant said, a tribunal. The tribunal has to inquire into whether any discipline should be taken against the reported person. Once they do that, then it's a tribunal has to recommend to the president that this person should be suspended pending the outcome of whatever inquiry or so they got to get. So let me understand. Let me get it straight. Yeah, I believe he should go off. But having said that, we know that this government shows scant regard for the Constitution. Shows scant regard. But the fact that the person is who the person is, they're going to make sure they're going to suddenly underline, and they're going to suddenly remember all of these things because they don't know it. They're going to run now that slow talk about it, and they're going to want to follow the Constitution to the letter, to the T. So you ain't going no way. So with all this nastiness being circulated there, this man, and I don't know, let me say this. These people have absolutely no bloody shame. Imagine you're in a senior position. You got to pass through junior people and all them type of thing. You got to interact with junior people. And you get a big stinking scandal hanging around your head. You should go and leave, even not suspended. Take leave and park up somewhere. Take leave. The other option is that you can be asked to resign. You got to go to things. Say, well, we ain't saying that you're guilty of anything, but having regards to the seriousness of this allegation, we believe it's in the interest, your best interest, the interest of your family if you care for them, and the interest of the organization and the country, that we're going to give you all your benefits. We are going to give you all your benefits. Go on. Resign. Come out the force. We're going to find something for you to go and do, like how they park up Happy, and Happy is in charge of some security at the Ministry of Housing. We can get something. But to have a senior man like that still in the system with all of this that is floating around is very unhealthy for the organization, is very unhealthy for the country. Nonetheless, they talk about Parliament and staying in Parliament. That is a stain on the organization. Nonetheless, no stain on Parliament. When Dharamlal in Parliament with the same Nadir as Speaker, they get up and tell a female member of the opposition, you want a dildo. That wasn't a stain on the Parliament. That wasn't a stain on the Parliament. You want a dildo. Or what happened? When opposition members, including Sherrod Duncan, and then object and talk, they were suspended. That is what you have. They were suspended from Parliament. But the man who made what was considered such an offensive and inappropriate outburst in Parliament during a sitting, nothing had happened to him. Nothing had happened to him. So you think these people are ordinary? But I'm saying this to say that yes, something should be done. But if I am an advocate for the rule of law, right? And I'm saying this so that you got to do the right thing. You have to do the right thing. How can you, in such a senior position, walk in there and sit down and all this type of thing, and all this thing going on, being revealed? See, Big Smith writing today that something about his Karim Bashir's association with the Central Islamic Organization of Guyana, claiming that he's getting coverage from them. That is what is being said. That is what is being said. But I have more to talk about, but now let me bring in CC for him to have his say, and then we have more to talk about this thing, because this is a big scandal. And we should not allow this to be swept under the carpet. CC, go ahead.
I always remember my countryman, Lincoln Lewis. He said, the strength is the nigger shame. So much scandalous thing going on about the place there. If I've been in a position, I walk away. Or I say, give me what I get from me, all my allowances and all kind of thing, and let me go out. But the thing is that the president has got to set up a tribunal, to do investigation, because it's deep. A tribunal, and I want to do like what we do in Adrian Mato. We bring a dry up or maple leaf, who said the police did an excellent job, and who said that they should have experts to search the swimming pool, and people who were properly trained to search the swimming pool, collect money, and he go along his way. And I want the president bring you ass again, I want to ras up this whole thing. Form a tribunal, deal with it now. Deal with the situation now. Take assertive action. Take appropriate action. Let it be swift and deal with it. You can't get it hanging all about the time. You can't get it hanging. Deal with the situation and deal with it now. It's crying out for justice. It's crying out for action. It's so scandalous, that you walk down the road and you're ashamed that you were ever a member of the Guyana Police Force, and more so somebody who passed through the training environment. So we're saying, get a tribunal to deal with the situation and do so urgently. You can get the Judicial Service Commission to appoint people and to deal with it in accordance with the Constitution.
Now, let me say this. Again, I see some comments, somebody saying that the man had previous allegations made against him and implying that he was given a slap and nothing was done. Even Big Smith alluded to that. I'm going to talk about that too. I'm going to say as much as I am allowed to say about that. But in terms of the investigation, let me remind them that and it was the same PPP government, I think, under President Ramatar, when the allegation was made against Green about rape. They had people from overseas, Jamaica, I think it was, who came to assist with the investigation to make sure that a proper investigation was done. People from the Jamaican constabulary came to Guyana. We had a case too where I think it was in Antigua some years ago. An allegation was made there against a senior man. We sent the police, I think he was superintendent then, right, went there to assist with the investigation. So there's an established arrangement. And again, forget about Ross. SOCU can't investigate because it's SOCU, the man in charge. CID can't investigate. They can't do no credible investigation. I hear the talking about OPR. OPR, Office of Professional Responsibility, wasn't designed and is not configured to investigate matters of this nature. I think the man who's in charge is the superintendent. And while a superintendent can investigate a criminal matter, this goes beyond that. This goes beyond just criminal because you might venture into disciplinary breaches and all that, because you might find that many of the actions that were alleged to have been taken not necessarily full out criminal, right? And the Minister of Home Affairs, we are looking to see what action the Minister of Home Affairs will take, because according to Big Smith Newswatch, the tape from the sergeant was given to her. Or the tape. Sergeant made some allegation about the deputy commissioner's involvement, about him going there to eye up trainees and to get people to provide him. That is the allegation that was made. That is the allegation that is being made. And according to what the Big Smith Newswatch said, that is in the possession of the minister. So what are you going to do, minister? Forget about the commissioner. Commissioner can't talk. He can't do nothing. But the minister should be able to advise the government as to what action they should be taken in such a another serious allegation. Now, let me address this, a narrow part of this thing, what they're saying. Big Smith said it. See people commenting about rap on the knuckle and so on. As I said, I'm going to say as much as I'm allowed to say. Allegations were in fact made against the same person. Allegations were made. CCNI were the Police Service Commission at the time. The administration of the force referred the allegation to the Police Service Commission. The Police Service Commission, in accordance with Article 212 of the Constitution, caused an investigation to be done. That investigation was done by then Assistant Commissioner Simon McBean. Right? When the investigation was concluded and a report was submitted, there was a suggestion that maybe criminal action can be brought or departmental action. The legal advisor, the legal officer at the commission advised the commission that we should go the departmental route. Let me understand this thing clearly, because people talking all sort of thing. The legal officer said, let's proceed departmentally, and we did that. He was charged 2 departmental charges under Section 4D7 for bringing discredit on the reputation of the force, where it was alleged that he made inappropriate advances to 2 female recruits. He was charged, departmental charges, 2 charge sheets. At which stage he moved to the High Court. So y'all getting things wrong. He moved to the High Court and complained that the whole process was unlawful and unconstitutional. And let me tell you all this, because this is not thing. The Attorney General's chambers, right, filed a defense on behalf of the Police Service Commission, right, the Attorney General chambers. A day or 2 before the matter was scheduled to come up in the High Court, the Attorney General chambers withdrew the defense that they had filed on behalf of the commission. So that when the matter came up, commission did not have any defense. And the judge, well, I remember very well where the officer or the lawyer from the Attorney General's chamber said that they had withdrawn the defense. And the judge questioned why. And the lawyer said they were instructed to withdraw the defense. And at which stage, we, the Police Service Commission, asked the judge for additional time to refile a defense. And that was granted. That was granted. Additional time to refile, and we refiled the defense. The matter was heard, and then the application was thrown out. In other words, he lost the case. We understand that he had appealed the matter. He appealed the matter, right? Around all this time now, up with the Service Commission. The Service Commission was unlawfully suspended, and therefore that is where the matter died. I don't even know what became of the appeal that was filed, but to say that nothing was done is not accurate. And there are more in that matter in relation to what transpired. And I referenced, or I alluded to the statement made by the acting chancellor about the financial independence of these commissions. And when she said commission, talk about the judiciary. And we're going to talk about that at some other time. I'm going to talk about that. I don't know if I'll get enough time today to talk about it. But it is not right, it's not true to say that nothing was done. We did at the commission, did that all that we were expected to do. Right? All that we could have done legally. And there's so much more into this matter that I really can't talk. I'm prevented from saying certain things. But perhaps the day will come when all of these things will be revealed. Right? We could not at the service. We did what we were supposed to do according to the Constitution. Right? Y'all could remember I made a report, I said repeatedly, where when I had a conversation with the president in September of 2020, when he talked about promotion for certain people. And he was then told that certain people could not be considered for promotion because they had disciplinary matters pending, right? And then you would recall too when the police, if you're there long enough, you will know that when the Police Service Commission met in December of 2020 to consider the promotion, they moved to the High Court because of those same people who were not shortlisted, and then moved to the High Court just like that. The night when we met the day and we shortlisted people for further consideration, and when I got home the night, the president and I had a conversation. Somebody tells me that the president wanted to talk to me. And I suspected right away that his promotion he wanted to talk about. So he sent me and calling me. But the discipline got the better of me. And after the person persisted, I decided to call. And the president tear off when he learned that certain people weren't shortlisted for promotion. And when I reminded him that because they had disciplinary matters pending, and one man had the commission before the court, what did they do? That was on the 23rd of December 2020. What did they do? The next day, Christmas Eve Day, Ropes and Ben communicated with Appy and them for a lot of people to be charged criminally because they were shortlisted and they did not want them to get promoted. They said they must charge them criminally. And when the commission met after Christmas to finalize the thing, I think it was on the 30th of December or something like that, they moved to the High Court. Brutus and many of them moved to the High Court. They moved to the High Court and got an injunction preventing the commission from going ahead with the promotion. They did all of that. And what happened? The president then hastened when they realized that they hadn't a ghost of a chance. They had no case. The matter was before the acting Chief Justice. They had no case. So when the decision was to be handed down on the 18th of June, on the 16th of June, the president suspended all members of the commission unlawfully. The judge found that unlawfully suspended because they didn't want us to, they want certain people promoted, suspended. And we had a long legal battle, which I prevailed in, right? Long legal battle, I won at the end of the day. And what happened? They promote the same people, including Brutus, who ended up getting 262 charges, promoted them. When we, having gone through all the records, recognize that these people were not entitled based on the rules of the commission, they do their own thing. So it is not true to say, as I've said, there's a lot of stuff that I can't talk about because this matter with the lawsuit against me, the matter is in the appeal court. And I don't want to say a thing to prejudice that. So what I tell you is information that can be gleaned publicly, but some of the other stuff I'm not at liberty to speak about this thing. I'm just saying that to tell you that the comments that have been made that pointing, including one made by Big Smith, that nothing was done, that is not so. That is not so, right? We did what the Constitution allowed us to do. And, I have been saying to many policemen, because a lot of policemen blame the Service Commission that I chaired for not promoting them. But we followed rules. And you can't compare us to people who come there lawless and following rules. For example, when promotions are made or were made, right? The first thing you have to look at is vacancies. How many vacancies exist in the particular rank structure? And then you fill those vacancies. So in many cases, you would have had people who you believe were qualified, right? But because of the limited number of vacancies, they couldn't get you then. Because we followed the rules. But what happened since then? They gone through the window. So you're promoting anybody left, right, and center with no regards, to vacancies and the establishment and all these type of things, right? So I have no regret for following the rules, none at all, because we were a lawful commission. So if the people come in afterward with them bishop and all them things and they're lawless, don't blame us for that. Don't blame us. And that is why they're in the shit they don't know, because of the amount of lawlessness. Everywhere is lawlessness. Let me bring in CC. Because sure he wants to have his say there too. CC, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, you said a whole lot. And forgive me if I repeat some of the things that you said, because I was a member of the Service Commission that you chair. And if they're talking about the Service Commission, they're also talking about me. Now, I recall the allegations made against that police officer. And we, the members of the Service Commission, not a one-man show. Paul, you could remember on I think on 2 or 3 occasions, we outvoted you. It was so democratic that we outvoted you. And we decided that a investigation must be conducted. We had McBean, and he put up a report. I remember him saying, hey, this thing is criminal, but before to go recommend that you go departmental. And in discussion with our lawyer for the Constitution, say, here, go departmental. And that's what we did. And lo and behold, the officer took us to court. And people might know, lawyers who represented the Attorney General Chambers were part of his team, his legal team. We applied to the Attorney General to defend us. And they quoted some case law from the CCJ that the Attorney General cannot represent those constitutional bodies. When we ask for money, they say we didn't get no money. Leave us actually on our own. And when we apply for funding through another source, they say that we acted unconstitutional. But getting back to the case, officer took us to court and he lost the case. He lost the case. And we say, proceed. And lo and behold, we ended up being suspended. being unconstitutionally suspended by the president. Remember, Justice Gino Poussard says action was unlawful, illegal, null and void, and of no legal effect. And that's how we found ourselves. We were suspended, our term finished after during the suspension, and that officer was promoted twice. Promoted twice. But come back to the matter is that it is unfair to say that the Service Commission didn't take any action. We did what we had to do in accordance with the Constitution, in accordance to law. We cover all the legal issues. And because of our actions, we were suspended. Because the president wanted young people promoted. And because we ain't promoting them, they find some unlawful ways or means of suspending us. So to say, I repeat myself, to say that this commission under which I serve, under which Paul, you chair, didn't do anything, it is complete fabrication and total distortion of facts.
Now, let me, as Mr. Conway mentioned something there, and I think I need to clarify. Remember, not clarify, but I need to expand, because remember, I said earlier, the acting chancellor made a statement recently. I'm not going to read, it's a short thing. Speaker, I quote, Chancellor George said, quote, most importantly, I reiterate, the judiciary looks forward to full compliance with Article 122A of the Constitution of Guyana, it being a fully self-accounting entity, which manages its technical processes regarding how its budgetary allocations is spent. Therefore, full implementation of the fiscal management provisions is necessary to fulfill the constitutional mandate and retain a leadership in this regard. End of quote. Article 122.2 of the Constitution says, quote, subject to the provisions of Article 199 and 201, all courts should be administratively autonomous and shall be funded by a direct charge upon the consolidated fund, and such courts shall operate in accordance with the principles of sound financial and administrative management, end of quote. Now, I read that to say, because the Chancellor acted was referring to the courts, but we found ourselves in a similar situation in terms of not having management of the financial budget in the Police Service Commission. And if you listen, not Thursday gone, a few Thursdays ago, former Minister of Finance Winston Jordan, I have advised and I've encouraged you on Thursday on Camps TV to listen if you want to understand the financial system and all of that. He made the point, because when the coalition was in government, what they did, they amended the Fiscal Management and Accountability Act to allow for the judiciary and the constitutional bodies to manage whatever budgetary allocation was given to them. When the government, when PPP came to power in 2020, in 2021, I think it was, they amended the legislation. They changed it back to the old thing where these bodies now couldn't manage their own finances. So Mr. Conway made the point that when, and I told you too, that when the matter went to court, when the officer took the matter to court, the Attorney General Chambers initially put in a defense, and then they withdrew the defense. They were not wrong in terms of the legal principle, because then they quoted Brent Griffith versus Gaisuku. I think that's the case. Lawyers can remember that. Brent Griffith versus Gaisuku, where it was held by the CCJ that the Attorney General's chambers cannot represent constitutional and I think semi-government, something like that. So therefore, the Attorney General chamber could not represent the Police Service Commission. But what they did is the manner in which they did it. They never alerted the commission. It's when the commission turned up and said, well, we rejoined the defense. And then we had to hustle now to file a defense. Now, after that was done, the commission met and we decided that we're going to seek the services of some reputable attorney, perhaps a senior counsel, to represent the commission. When the secretary, Jai Singh, right, was approached in terms of finances, he said that there was no budgetary allocation to retain counsel to defend the Police Service Commission. At which stage he was instructed to write to the Ministry of Finance to get the necessary finances. He did so. When he wrote to the Ministry of Finance, the Finance Ministry wrote back to instruct the Police Service Commission that they must allow the Attorney General's chambers to represent the commission, as happened in the past. So the Attorney General chamber legally could not represent the Service Commission. So when we sought to get money from the government, the Ministry of Finance, they are now instructing the Police Service Commission, a constitutional body, go back to the AG, right? Go back to the AG. So in other words, they weren't providing any support for us to go after this matter. And then what happened? What happened then? Ganesh Maipal decided to challenge the constitutionality of the amendment to the Fiscal Management and Accountability Act. We were made aware of that. The Police Service Commission, along with other commissions, were told. And we decided that we were going to join that challenge because we were directly affected. So we joined the challenge. And what did they do? They used the fact that the Police Service Commission joined the challenge to get Mark Phillips to write to all members of the Police Service Commission for us to show cause why he should not advise the president to have us suspended because we joined in challenging the constitutionality of the Fiscal Management and Accountability Act. That's what they did. All members he wrote to. That's what he wrote first, as I said, to me and Conway, because we were charged with conspiracy to commit fraud. And about 2 weeks after, he wrote again, and this time to all members of the commission. And it was because we joined with Ganesh Maipal and other members with politicians to challenge. And then they talk about all sort of crap, Nandalal. The documents are there, you know. They're all there. And hear this part. Hear this part. The Police Service Commission was not the only commission that joined the action by Maipal. The Teaching Service Commission, the Public Service Commission, they all joined. They all joined. But they targeted the Police Service Commission. And why? Because we had not acceded to the request or the demand or the wishes of the president to promote certain people. So they came after us. They never sought to suspend the Teaching Service Commission or the Public Service Commission. Never. Never. So when y'all, again, as I've said this, I said over and over, when I say it, is that you see a lot of people are not here, or were not here from the beginning, so a lot of things. So as someone who's, you do methods of instruction, many times you got to go back to refresh and to remind people, right? You have to go back and refresh and remind people. So therefore, to blame the Police Service Commission for that particular matter, it's unfair because we did what we had to do in the face of all the obstacles and challenges by the government, including suspension, including criminal charges. And in my case, some of these things are still pending, right? Including lawsuits. Brutus and Karimbash filed lawsuits against me. All of those things. You think they're easy? And when you look at to see who were the liars and look at the connection, you can see exactly where it was coming from. And let me give you all this too. You think it is? Somebody tell him us right. I will write. Do you know? The Police Service Commission met on the 23rd of December, 2020 for consider promotions and so on. Right? 2020, 23rd of December. Like a week before the 23rd of December, even before the Police Service Commission met to consider the promotion, Brutus and several officers, like the one in Bobby's and many of them, caused lawyers' letter to be sent to the Police Service Commission, Jupiter and all of them, to say that basically I get copies. They're aware that the Police Service Commission will be meeting to discuss promotion and they know that they had disciplinary matters pending, and therefore they made a demand, right, that no promotion should take place until the disciplinary matters, their disciplinary matters were concluded. They wrote us liar's letter and threatened that should the Police Service Commission go ahead and make the promotion without the conclusion of their disciplinary matters, they're going to move to the High Court. And they did just that. They moved to the High Court. And when they moved to the High Court, early 2021, the matter came up before the Chief Justice. Nonetheless, at the first hearing, said that the thing looked bad. I don't know, the thing that's looked bad, and wanted an opportunity to speak to the parties and all of that. And then they wanted to make demand. I said, I ain't playing the game, the blackmail game. I said, if I made the point clear, because the commission met, and I told them, I said, let me understand this. If they want any type of discussion, they must withdraw the lawsuit, that the court matter. You can't get court matter, get gun on the head, and then you want to negotiate. We are named Skinny. Skinny will shoot himself last week. Sunday, they putting gun to the head and playing the game. Me, I'm playing that game. I made it clear. I remember well, because when the first meeting was scheduled with the Attorney General and the Commission, I was traveling. I think I was in Bangladesh or somewhere. I had to wake up early morning to get into Zoom. And I think that was the first time, if you hear of the man buttering me, me just cricket and da. Trying for buttering me. But I ain't taking buttering. They don't learn. They don't learn, because Irfan attempted to butter me up too. I ain't taking no buttering. I ain't there, sir. Right? So we got to understand. And sometimes we don't blame you all, We don't blame the public, because the thing is, a lot of these things are not known. And this government, good at propaganda. They push out one narrative, they push out, and people run with that. And that is why we're going to use this platform to let people know what the truth is. We're going to use this platform to let people know what is the truth, the old truth, and nothing but the truth. Then we're going to deal with the facts, and the facts are stubborn things. And let me tell you this, before I bring in CC, again, let me tell you this. You see all of these things I'm talking about? I have documentation to support. The letters that were written to the Police Service Commission, all those letters, the promotion, the discussion, and all who got promoted, again, when the promotions were made in June of 2021, after the Chief Justice threw out the challenge brought by Brutus and them on the 28th of June, 2021, and the Police Service Commission released the promotion that was held up since December, right? Nandalal went and the program issues in the news. You just run up on a Tuesday night. And they said that the government will not recognize the promotions. The letters are there. Even the letter at the time the Service Commission was represented by Selwyn Peters, my friend from Canada. Y'all could say what y'all want to say, but Selwyn will remain my friend, because when the Service Commission was in need, Selwyn is the man who came and gallantly challenged the army of lawyers from the government and won. He had Dexter Smart and Dexter Todd at the side afterward. So I could say what you want to say. I have never been known to be ungrateful. I don't agree with all of his politics, and he knows that. But that doesn't mean I can be ungrateful. He is the man. And I have all the documentation. Let me tell you all this. Right, let me light up your Friday afternoon. When Mark Phillips wrote us the first letter on the 19th of May 2021, for us to show cause why he should not advise. This is me and Conway. And Selwyn Sidang, with his team there, Toby King, I think the guy named, a guy from Canada and so on. And the reply that was sent to Mark Phillips, 500 and something pages. 500 and something pages were sent to Mark Phillips in response to that nonsense letter that he sent to us. 500. And then when he sent another letter to us 2 weeks after, he got another 200 and something, right? He got another 200 and something letter. pages in the letter. So yeah, we did quite a lot. And as I said, the documentation, the receipts are there. And if you note, a lot of these things, the dates and so I'm not referring to no notes, I get them in the computer. They are indelibly imprinted in this computer here, right? The dates and so on, and all the incidents. And I will write because I want to make sure they have a way now of rewriting history, and if you don't document it, they're gonna come and they're gonna say this other thing, and then a little bit down the road next couple of years, they know who was slow, they know who's Conway, they don't know the contributions that they made and all of that. Because they're gonna rewrite them, right? But we are not allowing that. I am going to document. I promise a long time to have it done. And that is one of the things I want to get started this year. Start to document all of these things. I just got to pull the files and so on together and give so that people can understand, right? And I say this to say that when people make comment, including Big Smith, I have nothing against him, but he make the comment that the suggesting that nothing was done when previous allegations were made and so on. That is not true. Government, the same government, intervened to save their boys and their people. That is what they did, right? Right? Yeah, Selwyn, I'm glad you comment. Selwyn is saying here that I got robust representation in the same way the current clients are. Glad he was in my corner and we succeeded. And I thank you, and I will continue to thank you for it. And I must add, I hope you're not offended by that. Pro bono, Selwyn represented the Police Service Commission. Initially, he represented me because we go a long way back. Selwyn was a police, 13286 or something was the number, was a little by at the TSU when I been there back in the day. And when I encountered illegal trouble and so on, he is a person who I reached out to in Canada. I reached out to him and he willingly agreed that he was going to assist me. And then later on, and that was before all members were involved. And then later on, when all members of the Police Service Commission were then involved with this letter, he agreed to take on, to represent the entire commission, and he did not charge a cent. I know they're going to affect taxes as well. He did not charge a cent. So I could say what you want to say, that you drink the Kool-Aid, and say what you want to say. I will forever, and I'm sure I speak on behalf of the other members of the Police Service Commission, we will forever be grateful for the representation that Mr. Selwyn Peters gave us in that matter. Let me bring in CC. CC?
Quite a mouthful. And let me join you also in saying I'm grateful for the work Selwyn did in terms of representing the Police Service Commission. But I want to make a point before I close off, is that several persons, several officers who were promoted immediately after we were suspended had disciplinary matter pending, and the matters were not dealt with. Brutus get promoted. Prem Narayan get promoted, a triple jumper, moved from inspector to superintendent with no known outstanding performance as a policeman. Chevron Jupiter, Lady Jupiter get promoted and share this matter. Chief Prasad Bacchus, who in Borbis, a place where, so much things happening. Karen Bash get promoted, and I go over the list, and I can go in details because I know the files, I know the charges. So let's saying that they according to the public service rules, the Police Service Commission rules, that if you have a disciplinary matter pending, you cannot be promoted until the matter has been dealt with. And here we have people like Brutus, people like Prem Narayan, people like Chevron Jupiter, people like Chief Prasad Bacchus, people like Karen Bash. They were all promoted and a rapid promotion and holding senior position in the Guyana police force. Double standard. They promote the boys and promote the girl.
Well, let me say this because I know what can be the reply. The police service commissioner under the same man was Bishop, wrote to them to say that the matters against them were dismissed. Right? You can't dismiss a matter unless there's a trial. Let me understand this thing clearly. So they get people, they had a lawyer, Mark Conway, who died over a year now on the thing. So I don't know what type of advice they were given. You cannot dismiss a charge unless there was a trial. Maybe you would want to discontinue the matter, which perhaps they would have had the authority to do. But you can't dismiss. Dismiss means that you would have got to a trial and the tribunal or whoever inquired into the matter feel that given the evidence that came out, dismiss. But they said they dismissed the charge against those same persons that Mr. Conway named. Unlawful, illegal, you can't dismiss unless there's a trial, right? So the whole process, and that is part of the problem you have now in the force. These people that they have in certain offices, including the people who are the Police Service Commission, they're just widely, they don't know what's going on. They know. They just do what the government wants them to do. So that's why you see in many occasions, they promote people who left the work, all sort of thing. People who are no longer in the force, they promote because of the rush. And let me remind you all that when the promotion was made in 2022, right? Well, they had the anniversary service, and when they brackle, that's a countryman word, when they brackle the chairman of the Police Service Commission of promotion, he said, no, we are not going to think, we haven't got to the stage yet. We have got to examine files and so on. And the next day, they promote 250 something people. And why? Why? I had approached my lawyers, and we had said that given the fact that we had this matter pending because they had refused to recognize, and up to now, they have not recognized many of the promotions that were made. Up to now, they have not recognized it. So we said, well, let's go to court and challenge it and seek to have an injunction to prevent this new commission from making any promotion until that matter was resolved. The mistake that was made, I am blaming the liars and so on, but the place in Ghana a little slothful. So they went there, I think it was a Friday, the last Friday in June. They went. And the Saturday code don't work, the Sunday code don't work, and the first Monday in July, CARICOM Day, was a public holiday. So when the thing was served, when the code document was served on them on the Friday, they were instructed to run ahead and make the promotion over the weekend before the court can say anything on the Tuesday. So that's why they run out at breakneck speed and they made the promotion. And then they were so anxious to make the promotion. People who left the work, people do all sort of thing, they promote. They did all of that. So you have to understand the context in this thing. We got a couple of minutes more. Let's bring in CC and if he has any final say. CC, any final say?
Yeah, I remember those promotions, I remember them very, very clearly. And I remember the chairman of the Police Service Commission then, Bishop Finley, the same Big Smith Tackley, or let me use the word Brackley, at the Police Service, Anniversary Service, and asked him about promotion. And he said that the Service Commission was waiting on the list of recommendations from the commissioner before promoted. And the very next day, that service commission that he had as chairman there promoted 250 something persons, including Premnaran and Jupiter and Bacchus and Karimbash and all of them promoted them. So today I waiting on the list, and tomorrow I promoted 200 and something people. How you could get due diligence? How could you check records and all kind of thing? That's why they promoted people who left the work. They promoted one woman twice, and a whole set of irregularities, supersessions were the order of the day. Anyway, in closing, I want to say, that a couple of days ago, I saw police riding two ATV in Georgetown at breakneck speed 2 days ago. Police riding ATVs at breakneck speed in Georgetown. I'm talking about police in uniform. In uniform. I want to know what those ATVs doing in Georgetown when Region 1, Region 7, Region 8, Region 9, and even Region 10 crying out for vehicles of that nature to enable them to do effective patrol. So saying, I wonder why they're in Georgetown and driving at breakneck speed.
Now, a student made a point here that the chairman lied to Big Smith. Yeah, lied to Big Smith, you know. You see, let me understand this thing carefully. When you lie, it's because put it in a legal context. Lie as what they call mens rea. In other words, when a statement is made, and at the time the statement is made, you knew that is a lie, yeah, a different thing. But if you make a statement, and at the time when it is being made, you believe that, yes, you say, well, no promotion and so on, and you believe that was it. And then later on circumstances, you're instructed to make the promotion. You can't really say that the person lied at the time, right? Because at the time when the statement was made, he felt that there would not have been any promotion. So coming to the rescue of the bishop, I like to be fair and balanced, you know. I like to be fair and balanced. I like to be fair and balanced. Now, let me tell you all, those of you who are in class on Wednesday, I would have told you that I had court today, 23rd. I had court this morning. That is in the High Court. Is a civil lawsuit that I filed, and having the court has got discussion. I think it is now the 9th. It put off now for the 9th of April. 9th of April. For that matter. So I in the fight. I ain't giving up. You know, I am not giving up. As I said, let me read this. I haven't read this for a long time, right? So let it be known, and I'm quoting here from UC Anderson, attorney at law. Let it be known to all and sundry. I fear not yesterday, not tomorrow, not today, nor not ever any creature known to man, irrespective of the office they hold. I am not possessed of a spirit of fear. That's UC Anderson. I'm quoting. I fear not. You know why I'm not fearful? Because I have come to grips with my mortality. I have to die. Right? We all have to die. So why are you afraid? That doesn't say I'm going to stand in the middle of the road when one of them big truck coming. Well, we got to go at some day. Right? Now, let me say this too. Let me say this. We are due to come again on this program on Monday at midday. Well, if things go the way it is expected to go, by the time we get back here in this classroom, we ought to have a speaker of the leader of the opposition. We ought to have a leader of the opposition. President say it's a she or a he. So we don't know who it is. People, it is widely expected that it's gonna be Azzuddin Mohammed. But given all the shenanigans that are going on, all them man, I know Azzuddin playing rope a dope and so on, but them vicious. And I warning you all again. When you go, well, between now and then, walk the straight and narrow. Walk the straight and narrow. When you go there, walk with your water. If you walk with the sneeze, or better still, do like what my mother and them old people used to say, eat before you go out. Don't go to people's place and eat. Don't be licky, yummy, right? Eat before you go, right? Because you might very well find that things happen. These people wicked. Then you end up like this man with all this allegation making against sexual allegation. Who people say like they're doing. I don't know if many of you could understand or could relate to that, but that is a talk in the country that they do you. In other words, they put something for you. You can't help yourself. You're an impulsive thief. you're impulsive abuser, then do you. That is what it does say. So maybe that do you. Don't let it do you. Don't let you do you. And here, this do is not do, you know. I think it's do you. I don't know the spelling, but it do you. But it's not like if it means do you. So let me tell you all. And then they walk for me, yes, they walk for me. And let me tell you all this. Hold on, man. This thing give me all sorts of trouble today. Let me tell you all this. They just like bad, you know. They just like bad. And I think as you leave this afternoon, Friday afternoon, I think I should nice up your weekend. Put you in a mood. Put you in a mood so you're going to listen to this song.
Whatever you might see me do, know my love is true, I'm not being unfaithful to you. The woman you catch me with in the bed really didn't have no place to rest, she had business closed down, she lost she back, disappointed, suffering from shock. So I take she home just to relax and cheer she up. I'm exhausted, she said to me, so sleepy. Casually she sat on the bed and asked me to massage her leg. That's all, that is all, that is all. Keep your trust and your faith in me, and I promise you there'll be no infidelity. The lady you saw me with the other night, she and her husband just had a fight. I find it was really looking so bad. How we felt she closing the gas. She sit down there and start to cry like she going mad. Me $2,000 I give to she was to buy a sandwich and a coffee. Not another thing happened. Me and the girl ain't nothing. That's all, that is all, that is all. always trying to set me up, trying to give you the impression something's wrong with my darling, nothing ain't going on. The girl I was with behind the lamppost, don't vex because I was holding she close. Well, she's a old thief from the knees, it's somebody hearing she feels. I was only trying to hold she for the police. The reason behind was when she goes on, I was feeling to see if she had a gun. She didn't have no gun by she chest, is why I was searching under she dress. That's all, that is all, that is all.
Can't stop Sparrow. Put y'all into the weekend. The reason Leanne was looking under her chest, there was no gun under her chest. That is why I was searching under her dress. That is all. That is all. That is all. That's what Sparrow said. It's saw them people that just lie. It started just lie. And the lies, just like the lies told there by Sparrow in that song, Lying Excuses, so transparent you could see through it. Right? The man said they by the lamppost, then he gonna tell you they're gonna tell you all other thing and so on. But you hear the words of Sparrow, so that's lie. So I thought I'll send you into the weekend in a very joyous and happy mood, right? Because buddy, that place that called Guyana is such a stressful place that every now and again you need to get this type of things to relax your mind at least for a few minutes to maintain, so you can maintain your sanity. Other than that, you go crazy, you go loco. You got to, and I will try to lighten it up from time to time. I get off here, I see somebody say that they got a camera flashback and so on. If I go on flashback, I can steal the show. I get tremendous old music, real old music and so on. All genre. I get enough. I'm a music lover. I'm a music lover. Folks in the tri-state, let me leave by again warning you about this big winter storm that is heading your way. Make sure that you do all that you need to do and so on to be safe. Stay warm. Stay warm. Come here, but temperature minus 0 and all that other thing. You got to be extremely safe. Stay warm and be good to yourself and your loved ones. Folks, God's Spare Life, we're going to come again Monday at 12 o'clock. Guyana time, there's 11 o'clock New York time. And again, please, we don't want to come and have to announce more tragic deaths on the road. We don't want to. I know the corruption thing for now, we can't help it. We can gotta come and talk about the corruption. But please don't let it have to come and talk about deaths and so on the road. So folks, stay well over the weekend. And God's Spare Life. We'll meet again on Monday at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 12 o'clock Guyana time. Until then, be well. Bye.
Up comes Boslow and Mr. Clinton, Conway, speaking and exposing corruption each and every day. Guyanese, turn on your TV and go to YouTube and listen to what Boslow and Conway to say. Whole day we are calling for Boslow and Clinton Conway. They teach and educating, exposing the things in the system. We need a better Guyana for the little boys and the children poor. Slow and Clinton Conway.
All the money in this 2.2 billion.
Hear me when I sing. Oh. Guyanese at home and abroad. Please log into Conway as wide as it can reach. Paul Slow, you always will preach. Oh yeah, yeah. Like and share, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so this message could reach as far. And every guy I need